What's happening, everybody? It's Shy Panther of the Shy Panther and Friends Show. Welcome. Come on in, sit back and relax. And don't forget to like, share, follow, and comment. This is the Shy Panther and Friends Show, everybody. What's happening? Thank you for joining us. And if this is your first time watching the show, we are here to celebrate the cultural heritage of the blues. And before you go, please hit that share, like, follow, and comment. And when we are streaming live, you can also listen to us at q4.org. Now I'm going to open today with my guest. Can you hear me, Rick, pretty good?
Yeah.
All right. We're Mr. RICJAZ Hall. And most of you know him as the Buddy Guy's guitar player. So help me welcome him. What's happening, Rick?
Hey, what's going on, Gale? Do I need to lean in and just?
Oh, you can pull it up close to you so that you're a busy man, very busy man.
Yeah, I try to stay busy,
Yeah.
especially in the music business. You have to be, present.
Right. You have to be present. You have to be out there.
Yep.
And I happen to get you in the middle of your tour with Buddy Guy.
Yes.
Right. So people, if you don't know, and I'm pretty sure if you've been to Buddy Guy's Legends or any of Buddy Guy's shows, then you've seen this man right here. And so you're in the middle of the tour, and you guys tour. You have a long, you still got a long way to go.
So far it looks like all the way up to September. But
Yeah.
got dates. And I like back to back. We got space in there
Yeah,
where
you
we
got
can
some-
do other
yeah.
things and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got time to get you some rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, are you from Chicago?
Yeah. I'll say
Okay.
yeah.
You'll say yeah.
Yeah.
Did you grow up here or?
Yeah, I grew up in Chicago,
Okay.
but really started in Arkansas until I was 5. Then my mother brought me back up here to go to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, how did you start playing guitar?
Oh man.
What's that story like?
Well, that story goes way back.
Well, take us back.
Way back.
Take us back.
Goes back to back in the day. My mother had a boyfriend that played guitar, and he was a guitarist for the Soul Stirrers gospel group, and probably a lot of other R&B groups. So when he would come in from out of town, he would grab the guitar and start singing Jerry Butler songs to my mom, and she always started, be bubbly, all that
Ain't
stuff.
nothing wrong with that.
So I said, I think I want to be a guitar player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing led to another, and I finally started playing guitar, but I used to be a singer at first.
Really?
Yeah, when I was young, I had the high voice like Smokey Robinson.
Did you? All right.
And then when I got older, it started dropping.
Yeah.
I said, nah, girls don't want to hear that. Because back in the day, if you could sing high,
They
get the
love you.
girls, yeah.
Wow. So when did you get your first guitar?
Back in the 60s, I believe, it was my mom bought me a silver tone guitar. When I figured out that I wanted to be a guitar player, she bought it from Sears. And back in the day, I think it cost like $20 or something like that.
Okay. Now, wow. So your guitar, do you have a favorite one now? I know most guitars have several, and do you have a favorite? And did you name it?
No.
No.
I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
It depends on the gig. Some gigs require a solid body. Some gigs require a hollow body. So it just depends on what the job is.
Okay.
But I have multiple guitars that I use for different things.
Okay. Now, I don't know what you mean when you say solid body or hollow.
They're both electric.
Okay.
Say, for instance, Buddy Guy, I play a Strat. But when I first got with him, I used to play a semi-hollow body. But when you try to cut it up loud, it feeds back. So then I said, okay, well, I need something that don't feed back when you cut it up. So the Strat was the one because he had he had a Strat too, and he could play it loud without the feedback. So with him, I played Strat. Jerry Butler, I played a hollow body, and with the Dells, I played a hollow body.
That's
Because
right.
it was more a chordal thing, not too much solo grooving stuff, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you just mentioned the Dell, so you've been in this business for a long time.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people you played with?
Started off with the gospel thing.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to be just gospel. I used to do Isabel Joseph Johnson's radio show every morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Had a gospel group called the Wings of Joy. And I used to do that every morning. We'd catch the L down to the packing house, and we would perform 1 or 2 songs on her gospel radio show.
Okay.
Then from that point, I just started meeting people, coming up in school, grammar school, you know, and it was like a learning thing, a woodshed thing. And back in the day when I was coming up, everybody was a musician in the block. Everybody played guitar, bass, drums.
Okay.
And we would battle during the day. Everybody would go in their garage, let the doors up, and see who could play the loudest. So it was, you know, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun learning experience. And we would trade off licks, show each other this. Somebody show me that. Somebody show me this, you know.
Did you play in high school band, or did you have your own band?
I was in and out a lot of different bands.
Okay.
And in high school, I was focused on being a football player, not a musician, football player.
Really?
And as time went on, in my last year of high school, I got my hip dislocated playing football. So that ended the football stuff. So I said, okay, when I graduate, I'm gonna go to school and learn to be a music teacher. So I went to Chicago Conservatory downtown, 14 South Michigan, back in the day when it was happening.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did, went up in there and, you know, trying to learn exactly, I could already play, but I didn't know how to communicate with the upper echelons of musicians.
Okay.
Like if you go in the studio, you got to know how to talk to the producers and stuff like that.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to talk musically when I, you know, interacted with these guys. So that's why I went to the conservatory to be a teacher. But as I was going through all that stuff in the college, Gregorian chants, all kind of Greek mythology, all that kind of crazy stuff.
Okay.
Albert King came to the school looking for a guitar player because he didn't use a keyboard player. So he wanted a guitar player. So at that time I was studying all my jazz stuff. I had a jazz teacher, studying all my chords, intervals, all that stuff. So I could play chords like crazy because I wanted to be a music teacher / jazz guitar player.
Okay.
So I went through all that. He came to the school, gave me an audition for him, and lucky enough got the gig. So my dean at that time, he told me, he said, well, listen, since you got a professional gig from being at this school, all you got to do is turn your work in and we're going to pass you because you got a professional gig. I said, cool.
All right.
So I went out first stretch with Albert King.
Okay.
And it would have been a cool gig, but I wasn't ready for what he was throwing down. It's a difference when you're working with somebody
Okay.
and when you're a friend.
Friends. Okay.
Yeah, so when I first met him, he was cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, cool. But when I got on we got ready to leave for the first gig on his bus, total different cat.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I said,
You got to see the boss.
Albert
King.
And the way he was talking, I said,
A little bit too much for you.
yeah, I don't think I really like this. But I went on with the gig anyway, tried it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had given me, before we got on the bus, he had given me like a stack of albums. Back in the day, it was albums,
Yeah.
not CDs, none of that.
Right.
Gave me a stack of stuff to learn. I learned it. Come to the first gig, we headed out to Minneapolis
Okay.
to a club called the Caboose. So this was my first thing away from school that I was on. Now, I had never seen his band. We never rehearsed together. Because I think the rest of his cast was from Indianapolis or something like that.
Okay.
So after we got moving, got to the first hit, which was in Minneapolis at the Caboose, he said, okay, y'all go out there and play something, and then I'll come up. And so we started looking at each other saying, man, what songs you know, man? What songs you know? Because we never played together. You know, so I said, okay, I know this song, I know that song. So we did a couple of songs. All right, it went off cool. And then it was time for him to come out. So they introduced him. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Albert King. And we started playing a Joe Tex song called Skinny Legs. So we was hitting, and then before that happened, let me go back. I thought his guitar was out of tune. So I retuned it, but I didn't know he played cross Spanish tuning, which is open E, something like that. I didn't know that. So I had tuned it 440
Wait,
the way I play.
You retuned his guitar?
Well, I was trying to be a good worker because I thought it was out of tune. So I wanted him to be in tune when we hit. So I retuned it to 440. So then after we did our thing, he came out. He said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, here's Albert King. So we started hitting it. Dun, 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 dun. He come walking out with his pipe, puffing on his pipe, looking at everybody. Dun, 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 dun. And then he finally picked his guitar up, and he started playing, and it was messed up. Gale, it was messed up. Don't think. And he turned around to the band and said, who tuned my guitar? I said, oh shit, I'm fired. He said, don't you ever touch my guitar. And then we were still playing while he was doing all this talking. And then he just started retuning his guitar loud as hell while we was trying to play. Ding dong dong. It sounded like a bunch of noise. But once he got it back to the way he in tune the way he plays, he went to work. I mean, I never was on a stage with a blues guy that did that. So I mean, he was killing it. And I said, oh man. And me, like I said, I was more of a big body guitar, and I played a lot of chords, you know, so that's all I thought I was gonna be doing was playing chords. Then all of a sudden he turned around and said, all right, take a solo. I said, oh no. Because I didn't know a lot of blues licks.
Yeah.
So I was playing, you know, like jazzy stuff, George Benson, a lot of lick.
I get you.
Doing that all night, you know. And then he's just standing there looking at me. And I don't know, and I kept telling him, I said, man, come on, go ahead and do your thing. He said, no, keep going. Because he thought, see, I wasn't a string bender, he was a string bender. I played all melodic stuff. I wasn't gonna never break a string.
I get you.
You know, that's me.
Okay.
So he was waiting for me to break a string, but I would never break a string. And he just sat there for a long time. Keep going, keep going. I said, damn. I'm just hitting it. Then all of a sudden he came back, started playing, and just wiped me out. Because I wasn't using the big amp. I was using a little small 112.
Yeah.
And a PV V2 head. So I thought that was loud enough. But he had a acoustic 370, two 15s and a horn, all the way open, wide, and it was loud. I said, God.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had to play that loud, but he.
For him,
Yeah,
that's how he
was. That's his sound.
Yeah.
So he was killing it, you know. So we did that gig in Minneapolis. It went off good, and the reason I wanted to stay because all the girls started hollering. You know, I said, "Oh man, I think I like this. I would stay here. I like this." You know.
Yeah.
And then got to the next gig, and nothing was right. The songs were wrong, everything.
Mm.
And he had did this one song that I'll never forget. It was called "The Very Thought of You." Now, when he gave me the albums, he didn't say what key it was in, so I presumed it was in the key of the record.
Mm.
So okay, so I learned it, and then when he called it, he said, "No, we're not doing it in F. We're gonna do it in F sharp." I said, "Oh man." And the reason I said that because I had worked out all the fat, pretty chords for F. Now I got to do a half step. It's a little bit different stuff going on, and I was just scuffling through it because there wasn't no keyboard player. It was just me, 3 horns, bass, and a drummer.
Mm.
And I was supposed to carry the rhythm section.
I get
but
you.
it was deep.
So how long did you stay with him though?
2 weeks. The reason I stayed 2 weeks because it got crazy. He started finding people. He started doing stuff that I didn't really wasn't into hearing from a boss. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna talk to me like that.
Okay.
So I told him, I said, at the second week, I said, listen, I said, Albert, I'm going back to school. So I'm not gonna be able to do, oh, you want to stay? You want to stay? I said, no, man, I think I'm gonna go back to school. So I went back to school. And then for some reason, every time he would come to Chicago, he would call me to come hang out and go eat chicken. I said, man, I thought this dude didn't like me. And then I had to figure it out that work, friendship.
Yeah.
Work, friendship. When you working, it's a job. When you off work, if you want to hang, then that's different. You know, so I had to learn that. You know, and I learned the same thing from the Dells, Jerry Butler, and even Buddy Guy. I don't try to hang with them, you know.
Outside of.
Right. I try to do my job, be on the job, and then when we off, if I go and say, hey, hi, have a drink, what's up? We cool. But when we working, we working. You got to give the leaders their space. You shouldn't have to crowd them, you know, because they got a lot of stuff going on anyway.
Right.
So I had to learn that.
Huh.
And the Dells taught me most of that of the years that I was coming up with them. So that's how I got to be at the spot I'm at now, being a guitar player.
With Buddy Guy.
Well, I was already playing before I met Buddy Guy. I was already doing a little blues stuff, and the one that made me play the blues was Marvin Jr. of the Dells. And the way that happened was, once again, I was playing my big body guitar with the Dells back in '77.
Okay.
And so they decided, you know, because I was in a new band, they decided to say, okay, we was in Cincinnati, I remember. And also we was doing this slow song, Stay in My Corner. So they had never did this before when I was in the band, but this day he decided to do it. So Big Marvin turned around and said, asked the whole band, he said, who wants a solo? Everybody said, no, not me, not me. And he just said, okay, we're going to call out guitar player out. Rick. I said, oh, no. I didn't know what to play because it was a slow song. I said, why you want a solo on a slow song? So I started doing George Benson stuff because that's all I knew was George Benson stuff. So I would play that into the song. So long story short, we went on a couple more dates and I kept doing the same thing until we got to Atlanta. Okay, so now we're doing the same thing in Atlanta. So they said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it for our guitar player, Rick. So I started playing George Benson again, and Marvin Jr. grabbed my guitar neck, bam, said, hold it, we don't want to hear that shit. We want to hear some low-down, dirty blues. I only knew 3 blues licks.
Okay.
Because I did listen to B.B. King, so I knew 3 licks how to do a pickup.
Okay.
I said, okay, there's blues. So I just turned around and told the band, I say, just play slow blues in C. And they said, okay. So I hit the 3 lick, down, 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 and the crowd went wild. I said, and I looked at him, I said, why did I go to school to learn all that stuff? Tetrachords, scales, intervals, when I'm playing 3 licks, and the crowd goes crazy over that. So after that, that became a staple, and Adele showed me doing a blues solo
Okay.
from 77 to 2004, before I got with Buddy.
So you stayed with them a long time, so it must have been a good experience.
Oh yeah, well they kind of brought me along and taught me a lot of stuff. I learned a lot from the Dales. Learned a lot from them.
Okay.
Yeah, learned a lot.
That's where you really became RICJAZ.
Well, I always loved jazz, but I never
Okay.
got a chance to play it because there wasn't that many places to play.
To play, yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't, they don't want to hear that stuff. Not for long. You can't go all night and just bebop and jazz all night. You got to play other stuff.
Right.
So just wasn't that many places to play it. But I still kept the name, and I've been still working on my smooth jazz stuff still,
Okay.
as today.
So,
Yeah.
so when did have you always, is that your stage name, RICJAZ, or?
Yeah.
Okay. When did
Yeah.
you give yourself that? Or did somebody else?
I gave myself that
Okay.
a long time ago. I don't remember when. But
All right.
yeah, I don't want to just say Rick Hall or my other business government name. I said,
Okay.
let me name RICJAZ. That's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Now I did a little research and I saw the spinning guitar deal that you do. The move that you used to do. I don't know if you do it now or not.
Oh yeah, I've been
Okay.
doing that since I was with the Dales since
Okay.
1977. Yeah, and the way that happened was, it used to be what we call a NAMM show, and then one year it came to Chicago at the McCormick Place, and at that time I was representing Dean strings, Shadow MIDI guitars, and some other items, working for this bass company. So usually at the end of the thing, the NAMM show, all the vendors, they don't want to take all that stuff back home. They want to get rid of it. So at the end, I was just walking around, seeing what was left, who had what, see if I could use it. And then I got to the end of the hall and seen this one guy just standing there spinning his guitars with nobody paying him no attention. That's it. He was just, so I just went up to him and said, "Hey man, that's cool, man." I said, "Let me get one of them." He said, "Okay." I said, "How much is it?" He said, "Like 150. I said, "Okay." So I gave him 150, took it,
Yeah.
and got home and got to test it out. I got a cheap guitar because I didn't want to mess with my other guitars. So I got this cheap guitar, put it on, the unit on the guitar, but he didn't tell me how to install it. I had installed it backwards. So when I tried to spin it, like he was doing, it comes so close, and a couple of times it hit me in the head. I said, "What the heck is wrong with this thing?" And then I called him, and the guy that made it, he's out of Philadelphia. And I called him. I said, "Man, what's wrong with this thing?" He said, "Well, how you got it installed?" Because it was on a pivot. There's a pivot thing on the guitar that you got to drill a hole in the guitar and put it on, because it's like off center. And I had it upside down. So he said, "Man, you got to take it off and you got to switch it around." I said, "Okay." So I took it, switched it around, and then tried to spin it again. Then it spun good. I said, "Oh, okay. Now I got to figure out how to get it wireless so I'll be able to go out and spin." So at that same time, I was still doing the solo with the Dales, a little blues solo, but I was saying, let me add some more stuff to this so it can be more entertaining. So we was in Washington, D.C. on an outdoor concert. I forgot the name of the venue, but anyway, nobody have ever seen me spin the guitar, including the Dales. So Marvin Jr., once again on the same song, "Stay in My Corner," he called me out to do a solo, which was a blues solo. So I did the little blues solo, and then at the end I spent the guitar, and everybody went crazy. They said, "Oh man, we ain't never seen nobody do that before." So that became a staple with the Dales. Everybody I work with, It was staple.
That's,
You know, that's a trademark that everybody has to have a trademark when you're a musician. You got to have something special that you do. Like Buddy Guy, he beats the guitar with a drumstick.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm.
uh, everybody got to have something that they do besides just play. You got to still entertain.
Right.
You just don't play a whole lot of stuff because most of that stuff will go over people's head and they won't remember what you did.
Right.
So you got to do something to catch their eyes, get their attention. And I've
Right.
been doing that since who knows when. Yeah.
This year you are a Hall of Fame inductee.
That's
right?
what I was told by Miss Dixon. She had called me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why she set up this radio interviews and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. And plus you doing some theater work or working with theater. There's a play that's going to be happening very soon.
It's supposed to be, I think it's called The Queen of the Blues or something like that.
Right. It's coming up really soon.
Starts June 7th.
Okay.
Produced by Joe and Sonetta out of California.
Okay. So it's called The Queen of the Blues, and where is it going to be? The theater?
Oh,
I
man.
forgot.
It's supposed to be let me see what I got.
I think I saw it. But in the meantime, I just want to say that you have one of the most treasured positions right now, or opportunities, I would say, to work with Buddy Guy. A lot of people, when I ask them about collaborating or working with somebody that they truly admire, and they all say they want an opportunity to work with Buddy Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, not to change the subject, but it's supposed to be at the Studebaker Theater.
Okay, it's at the Studebaker. So everybody Google it, find out, how long it's going to be here, and it's a Queens of the Blues.
Yeah, Queens of the Blues.
Queens of the Blues at the Studebaker Theater. So check it out. And
that's where I went to school at, 410 South Michigan.
did you? Oh yeah, it's going to be
Fine
right
Arts
there.
Building, yeah.
At the Fine Arts Building, 410 South Michigan. Now, as I was saying, you have a very treasured position working with Buddy Guy. A lot of people want that position, and so I remember when we came in, I mentioned that to you, and you said that your advice to people was
What?
your advice to people about being holding that treasured position of working with Buddy Guy.
Yeah, I just tell the guys, just wait your turn. When he calls you, then you be on the gig.
Right, be ready.
Yeah, just be ready.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so when did you start working with him? How did that happen?
I met Buddy when I was believe it or not, when I was in college. But I don't know if he remembers, because that's when he had the other legends down on 43rd or 47th Street.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I met him then when I was in school, and I was playing with the 43rd Street Blues Band. And we used to back him up doing a lot of college dates here around Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him briefly back then, and then a stretch came, and I met his brother, which was Phil Guy, and I used to play with his brother for a number of years, And his brother one day asked me, I was doing a gig at Kingston Mines, and he came down to Kingston Mines, and I was sitting up in the chair, because we do 3 sets a night at Kingston Mines. So I was sitting up in the chair, sleeping, playing guitar, and he came and hit me on my foot. He said, "Wake up." I said, "What's up, Phil?" He said, "Hey, man, my brother looking for a guitar player. You interested?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, I'm going to let him know." And I was just thinking, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I didn't think no more about it. And then one day, it was another jam I did every Monday, I think it was. at a club in Harvey, Illinois. It's called Larry's. So all of a sudden, Buddy shows up at Larry's and sit on the bar. So I said, oh, okay. I guess, I said to myself, I guess his brother wasn't kidding. He's down here. I said, okay. But we was playing when he came in. So I said, when I get on break, I'm going to go speak to him.
Okay.
So always before break, he would leave. So I said, oh, man. I said, okay. Well, I said, maybe he just came down to chill out, get a drink. But I know he was working with another tour. Right after Stevie Ray Vaughan died, it was called some kind of tour they was doing, but it's an acoustic thing. Buddy Guy, B.B. King, what's his name? And a couple other guys I can't recall their name. Eric Clapton and John Mayer, I think. They was doing a sit-down acoustic thing. So, but he was going back and forth with that every week. So he came down to Larry's like 3 weeks in a row. First week, he was gone before I could talk to him. Came down the second week, did the same thing. Before I could come down, he would cut out. So I didn't know he was looking at me as being part of his band, but I think he was checking out like a lot of other guitar players at the same time.
Okay.
So then the third week he came down. He got there before we started. And so I was on stage getting ready to start the set. I had my back to the audience tuning my guitar. Ding, dong, dong. And he just walked up in behind me and said, hey, man, you want to be in my band? I did the same thing you just did. I turned around and seen who it was. I started laughing like that. I said, come on, man. He said, no, man, I'm serious. I'm serious. I need somebody that won't mess up the hotel rooms, not scared to stay on the road for a long time.
Right.
And play behind me and you know, and back me up. You know, and break it down when I say break it down. I said, well, hey, I ain't got no problem with that. Because the reason I accepted the gig, Gale, was because right before he came in, the Dells, we had just did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in New York. And then after that, it was supposed to be a big tour coming up with the Five Heartbeats tour thing with what was the guy that wrote it?
Robert Townsend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So we did one little stretch of that tour, which was cool. Then the second time it was supposed to be a longer tour. So I'm getting packed up and everything, and then all of a sudden Chuck Boxdale, the Dells, called me and they say, tour is canceled. Click. I said, somebody playing with me. I said, I'm gonna call him back. I called him back. I said, man, what's up? He said, tour is canceled. Click. Now, I had given all the stuff I had in Chicago away. All my local gigs. I was doing the Black Ensemble Theater 3 or 4 nights a week. I was doing a lot of stuff that kept me busy.
Yeah.
But I thought I was going on a big tour. So I gave everything away to my buddies, you know. So after they canceled that, I said, man, what am I gonna do? So I was thinking, I said, I can't ask my buddies to give me my gigs back because they had made plans to do the gigs.
Yeah.
So I said, jeez. So I was thinking, and then, like I said, I did a jam night at Larry's every Monday or Tuesday. I forgot what night it was. And that's when Buddy started showing up right after they canceled. Then he shows up right on time. There was a lot of stuff going on that year.
Okay.
He shows up, and like I said, the third time he came, he offered me the gig. So I said, yeah. But I said, can you wait at least 2 weeks till I train me a sub for the Dells? Because I didn't want to leave him. I don't leave people hanging. I try to keep it all business, keep it moving.
Yeah.
So I said, let me train another guitar for them. You give me 2 weeks. And I say, it's a done deal. And he said, okay. And I looked at him and said, nah, he knows a million guitar players. He ain't got to wait on me.
Right.
He ain't got to wait on me. But he did. He gave me the 2 weeks leeway. He said, all you got to do is just come to rehearsal and learn the stuff. And said, you're going to be cool. I said, all right, man, I'm still just, I don't know. It's just real.
It's not, yeah.
You know, because it's Buddy Guy. I said,
yeah.
So went to all the rehearsals. and then did them. And then at the end of the last week of the rehearsal, when it's going on tour, he said, now, well, when we get out of here, fellas, everybody gonna come at you trying to get you to join their band and all that kind of stuff. And he said, if you decide to accept it and go, I won't be mad at you. So I said, okay. He said, also, I usually give guys in my band solos. So if I give you a solo and you ain't ready, I ain't gonna feel sorry for you. So I'm saying, oh. I said, okay. I said, so I was thinking to myself, I said, okay, if he give me one, I gotta come 100 every time. I gotta be on. So getting ready to go out on tour. Now he already knew I couldn't go, but he didn't tell his manager and nobody that I couldn't go. So all right, so we rehearsed. At the end of the rehearsal, one of the guys bring down the plane tickets and all the information. So he started passing them out. He gave me one. I looked at it. I said, what's this for? He says, we're getting ready to go out. I said, I'm not going. And he took it out of my hand and said, Buddy, see, this is what I'm talking about. When you hire these guys, this is what happened. And Buddy said, hold it, what you talking about? He said, he can't go. Buddy said, yeah, I know it. Ain't no problem. I got somebody that's going to take his place already. You ain't got to worry about it. He said, well, you didn't tell me. He said, I ain't got to tell you nothing. This is my band.
All right now.
I said, wow. Now I'm thinking, maybe I'm going to get fired before it even gets started. So after rehearsals and all that kind of stuff, he usually do an acoustic thing by himself. But he said, okay, Rick, I want you to play with me on the acoustic. When we do the acoustic, I want you to play with me. I said, well, I don't have an acoustic guitar. He said, no problem. He told his guitar tech, he said, go upstairs and bring all my acoustic guitars downstairs. There's about 5 or 6 of them. Guy brung them down, and Buddy said, okay, Rick, pick one. And everybody looking at me and said, who the fuck is this dude? He getting a guitar, he ain't got to go out. What's going on? So I picked the most expensive one he had, which was a jumbo something, acoustic guitar. I picked that one. I said, I'll do this one. He said, okay, you can take it home and practice with it. I said, okay. And his guitar tech was looking, Buddy, are you crazy? You know how much a guitar costs? You gonna let him take it? He said, yeah, he got to learn how to play it. So I took the guitar, just learned the parts, you know. So they got another guy to take my place for 2 weeks. So I said, and this guy was bad. It was a friend of mine named Will Crosby, great guitar player. So I said, damn, once he hear this dude, I'm fired. So he went out with the 2 weeks, played the shows, and they came back. And I didn't think I had the gig anymore. But Buddy called me and said, you ready? I said, I did like that. I said, yeah. He said, come on, we getting ready to go. So we was going to, first day that I did with him was, I remember it clear. It was a great date. It was in Switzerland at the Jazz Fest with Santana.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we get out there, you know, I'm still playing something like a 335 Simo hollow body guitar, you know. So I wasn't thinking about soloing, none of that stuff. I was thinking about doing a good show. And this video, and I know they're shooting a live video of that. So we get out there, you know, I meet Santana and all the other musicians and artists and whatnot. So I said, man, these are all the cats I used to read about. You know, I just see them on TV, you know, and I'm hanging with them. I said, cool. So we get out there, first set, play with Buddy Guy. He does the acoustic thing, but I didn't get the acoustic guitar because it was a overseas thing. We didn't bring the extra acoustic. So he did it by himself that time. All right, so now it's time for him to bring the rest of the band out and do the whole show. So we get out there, getting down, playing the Buddy Guy show, getting down. And then all of a sudden, I was not expecting. It was on, let's see, a slow blues song. Dun, 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 dun. I forgot the name of it. And he called me out and said, Rick, take a solo. I said, oh, no, not again. So I said, what am I gonna play? So I just started playing some blues stuff, you know, slow blues stuff. And then the drummer at that time, Tim Austin, he was kind of like directing the band to do stuff. And he was directing the camera guys. So he pointed a stick at me. He said, going out there. I said, man, in front of Buddy Guy. He said, yeah, go ahead. So I started playing it and stepped out, and the crowd started getting into it. And I said, let me go ahead and do my thing.
All right.
I said, I got to come 100 because he's looking.
Right.
He's going to see what's going to happen. So I went out there because he had never seen me solo like that. So I went out there, started walking the stage, doing my guitar thing. And at the end of my solo, I spent the guitar, which was done again. The crowd went crazy. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. So that's how that started, me soloing in this band. And I've been doing the solo since, I get 2004 or 5. He calls me out to do my little shooby-doo, you know, which is cool. I respect him for that, and I appreciate that. And matter of fact, it's on a video. It's on the, called Santana Plays the Blues or something. It's like a 3-pack CD, and that was first time when I met Santana and them, and they gave me a nice little write-up in the jacket of the CD, you know. So it's been a trip. It's been a journey.
So would you say that was one of your most memorable experiences in your career?
With him, yeah.
All right.
With him, yeah.
So he saw something in you. He was totally invested in you. It looks like from the start.
I guess so, but I had no idea if he did, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got a show tonight as well.
Yeah. At Chance, 53rd, and where's that at? Hyde Park, Chance Restaurant.
Okay.
With a neo soul group called, what are they called?
So you're going to be at Chance tonight in Hyde Park. And if you don't know where it is, I know everybody knows. You can always Google. And so while he's looking for that, I'll give you a few minutes to do that. And so everybody, please share the page. Share, follow, like on Shy Panther and Friends show, and on our social media on Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, I'll be with the Blended Soul Band tonight at Chance Restaurant from 6 to 9 p.m. Be there.
So what would you be doing if you weren't a musician?
I don't know, probably a blue-collar worker or something like that. Or
well, you teaching. You did mention.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't have that many students, you know.
But, well, yeah, if you weren't
a guitar player,
probably you would. You'd probably be in the classroom. So, so at this point in your career, you've worked with some of the biggest names in the game, and you still do. You have accomplished so much. So what would you say is the most important thing in your life right now?
Just staying healthy. That's it. Stay healthy and be ready for whatever comes your way, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right, yeah.
You know, because none of the stuff I've been doing, I never expected. None of the stuff I've done or been doing, you know, at all. So just stay healthy and be ready for whatever comes your way.
You were ready for all your opportunities. And
yeah, I was lucky, I think.
Yeah.
I think I was lucky.
So what's the best advice you've been given?
From the Dales, they showed me how to focus. Matter of fact, I got to say this about the Dales. They had, when I auditioned for the Dales gig, I wasn't that good of a reader. I could read, but I wasn't fast. So when they hired us, I had an 8-piece group called Ultimate Power. And at the time, we was dealing with some studio down on the north side under Finest Henderson. He was kind of managing the band. So the Dales had just finished a tour in Africa, and the whole band quit. So after they quit, Chuck Boxdale asked Finest Henderson, "Hey man, you got any bands we could look at? Cause we need a new band." So Finest Henderson threw our name in the pot. So Chuck came to check us out. He had called his arranger from D.C., fantastic arranger, Kirk Stewart. He was a teacher at Howard University, and he did all the Dale's charts and music arrangements.
Okay.
So he comes out with Chuck. They come down to the basement, to check us out, and he had all these books. So I thought it was going to be an ABC book. So he has the books out, and the arranger said, "All right, pull up this tune called The Love We Had." I say, okay. That was one of the Dale's hits. So we pull out, everybody get the music, pull it out. And it had a pickup for the guitar in the first bar. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I couldn't focus on the lick because it was a triplet, So I said I thought I could skate through it, sight read and skate through. So I said, I'm not going to play that. I'm just going to hit the first chord. So we get ready to play, and the arranger counts it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then nobody played nothing. Everybody looking at the charts because we couldn't really read that well. And we said, damn. He said, okay, hold it. We're going to try it again. He counted off again. 1, 2, nothing. And he said, guitar player, you got the pickup. I said, okay, but I couldn't read the notes, the triplet. So he counted off again. This time, everybody played. It was just a bunch of them. Bye, bye, blink, 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 blink. He said, hold it. Pack the books up. Close the books, turn them in. So I said, oh, well, we lost this gig. And then Chuck Boxdale and Kurt Still went to the back of the basement where we was rehearsing and was discussing what they wanted to do. So Chuck Boxdale told him, man, just teach him how to read our book. So they came back up to the front where we was hanging, and he said, okay, all right, y'all got the gig, but we're going to put y'all in a serious rehearsal for 3 months. You're going to learn every song in this book, and Kirk is going to be here to teach you how to play each and every part. I said, wow, okay. So one thing led to another. We started rehearsing with the Dales, and Kirk Stewart was a bad cat. He's like a Nat King Cole type of cat. You can look him up.
Okay.
And he taught us how to read all the signs, everything, the way that music go in that book, everybody's part, everything. And it was just another learning experience that I had to go through, which I really liked, So we went through that. He taught us all that stuff. And next thing I know, we was out doing gigs with the Dales, reading the music.
Right. Wow.
So, that was my best thing I would remember coming through.
Wow. You've had some really great
I had some real good people around me.
Yeah. And you were prepared. So that's kind of.
Yeah, I would just say in the right spot at the right time.
Right, and you were good enough to go with it, and that's the thing.
Yeah, I think I had a good enough sound to get it,
Yeah, because a lot of people sometimes may not move ahead thinking, well, I'm not good enough yet. Maybe I should turn it down. But if you're just good enough, you'll get the rest.
And the way the music thing was, when I was younger, my mother used to have card parties. My mothers and aunties used to have a card party. It was like a rent party to be able to pay the rent. So they would have a party on the weekends. Friday, it would last all the way to Sunday. And they would have a lot of people come over playing cards, frying chicken, frying fish, and all that kind of stuff. And every time they come, she said, "All right, you got to go to your room. It's grown folks."
Yeah.
So she sent me to my room. I had to watch a black and white TV. What was
remember
it?
that.
VHF. Yeah. And I used
Yeah.
to watch Big Bill Hill
Yeah.
come on every
I
night.
did too.
Yeah. And I watched the kids dancing on there, and I could hear them out in their party, laughing and drinking and having a good time. I said, man, I want to look out there and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But she used to always play the records of all the people I played for when I was coming up.
Really?
And it was already
I get it.
etched in my mind on how that stuff sound and how it go. You know, so when I did meet these people that I'm meeting now, I had already heard the music, so I had an idea of how it goes. But if you would throw a chart, it'd be like, yeah, wouldn't happen. But I kind of knew the music. So with the Jerry Butler, she used to play a lot of Jerry Butler, a lot of the Dells, a lot of Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of spiritual songs by the Soul Stirrers. So I kind of grew up around them too, but I didn't know who they actually were till I got older, because I met them again when I was older. And because the way that happened, when my mother moved to the south side, I think I was born on the west side. She moved to the south side, and we were staying at a house where there was a lot of musicians. I think it was the Soul Stirrers. All the people was coming through, Johnny Taylor, Sam Cooke, and I didn't know them because I was too young.
Yeah.
You know, and they would rehearse and do the gospel thing and blah, 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 you know. So then there was one guy that was a guitar player in the Soul Stirrers. His name was Dillard Kroon. And he would, you know, be the cat. So as I got older, and that's when I got the guitar. My mother said, okay, you got a guitar now. I want you to learn what you're doing. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to learn the love songs that the ladies liked and were screaming about. I don't want to do all that read stuff.
Yeah.
So she hired him to teach me guitar. So he brought out the book 1 of Mel Bay, which had all the stuff that I needed to know, but I wasn't having it. I didn't dig it. And I kept telling my mom, saying, I don't like him. I don't like this. She said, yeah, but you got to learn this so you'll be able to play when you go out.
Oh, I'm
I
telling
said,
you.
nah, I don't want to do it. And then he got disgusted with me because I would never have my lessons ready when he come. So he said, told my mom, forget it. He don't want to learn how to play. I said, nope, not that. So then he left, and then as I was coming up through grammar school, I started meeting guys in school. Everybody could play. So we would come over to my house on lunch break, because I live a block from the school, eat bologna sandwich and pork and beans, and we'd sit up at the kitchen table showing each other licks.
Yeah.
And I remember this bad guitar player, I thought he was bad, named Leroy, whatever his name was. He showed me how to play Soul Man by Sam and Dave the right way. You know, he showed me, he showed me all this stuff, you know, and we would trade licks and stuff like that. So that's grammar school. Then I get to high school, you know, the whole bit. You know, I didn't want to be a guitar player. I wanted to be a football player, as I told you before.
Yeah.
Went through all that. And, man, yeah, it's been just a complete learning thing with music. Music is the soul and heart of any person, if you're really into it. And
right.
it's just kept me safe. It kept me grounded, you know.
Yeah.
It's just something I think everybody, young person, should try, you know, because it's a lot of discipline involved.
Right.
You know, it kept me off the street, the whole bit. So I have
you didn't have time to be.
Yeah, no regrets. Well, I wanted to play.
Yeah,
you know, so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until this day, that's what I'm doing now. And the guy that was that I said was my teacher, I met him years later when he had another group called the Branding Iron. And I met him, and I could play then. So he hired me to play with the Branding Iron. And we, you know, I played good enough where I was in the band with my teacher.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
a big deal.
He took me on a gig to Milwaukee somewhere. And I met my favorite group, which was Bloodstone. That's when they was really at the top of their game, and we opened up for Bloodstone. And I said, man, this is
Living
heavy.
your dream.
Yeah. That's what our tour is, living a dream.
Really?
With Buddy Guy, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been living it and meeting a lot of people, still meeting people,
Right.
playing with a lot of great musicians. You know, it's just been a trip.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're at the legend status, even though you say no, I'm not a legend.
No, I'm not a legend. I'm just a guitar player that's in the right place at the right time.
Well, I think you've been out here and you've been playing with the legend for a very long time in your career. I think many people would give you that status. All right, everybody. I think we're gonna come on down to close the Shy Panther and Friends show today. Thank you so much for stopping in, and please, as I asked before, please share on all of our social media and follow us. And plus, whenever you get a chance, go out and support live music. Going to the performances helps to keep this music going, helps to keep the blues alive, keep our musicians employed. So let's do that. And I want to thank a few people, Gary Martin, my brother, for encouraging me to start this venture, and for Anne, who is invaluable in helping me to manage everything. And for Tomiko Dixon, thank you for all of your hard work and keeping the blues alive and sending me so many great people, especially like RICJAZ.
Yeah, thank you, Tomiko, too.
Yeah, thank you, Tomiko Dixon. And we will see you all next time. In the meantime, God bless and take care of yourselves.
Adios, amigos.